Hello, welcome to the uh, preliminary tentative Shamsy ramp up selection committee. I'm Samer. With me are Giri and not Shams, but Patrick Redford. The reason we look like this is deliberate. It's to honor the man at the center of the ceremony, and also our Zoom background does not recognize the background behind me, so I just look like this now. And also Patrick does too. Somehow Giddy got it to work. our hands create more of Shams.
I'm just trying to reveal more context here.
Yeah.
I like that. That screen wipe is really good.
Presented by Stadium. Do you want to progress towards ramping up, acquiescing a closer cooperative understanding of procedures heretofore to come? Announcement?
Yeah. I guess while I'm sharing, do either of you want to give a somewhat succinct explanation of who Shams is, in case I assume most of the audience knows who he is if they're watching this, but maybe
Yeah,
they could use that.
I think there's kind of a niche betting market in terms of future Nobel laureates for the prize. And we just kind of want to get ahead of the curve and kind of give that competitive edge to all our bettors and readers at Defector. So we've been trying to highlight the pro stylings of Shams for maybe 2 years now. And actually in that time, I think his style, we're seeing the influence in real time on his colleagues and across sports, on TV, off TV, in print, on Twitter. And we've compiled some of the best stuff from this year. And I think pretty much all of us have not looked at these submissions recently. So I think we're going to be opening them up like an advent calendar and just kind of responding to them in real time, which should be fun.
Yeah, this is a rich tableau to enjoy here.
So without further ado, let me see if this works. Here's the list. So we've got some excerpts here from people who aren't Shams, and we've cited our sources, and then also we have some the ones in caps are tweets, which will be moving toward a way to be shared among the stream deliberately with the public at some point. But yeah, the first one we have is from Mark Stein Substack. I'm going to read this one out loud and we can kind of take turns and read the other ones out loud. There has been an undeniable uptick in deals-related phone conversations this week as teams league-wide edged away from the holidays and a December rife with roster chaos and hundreds of hardship signings. So this was like, I think, when everybody was catching COVID, for context.
This was like the Lance Stevenson era.
Yeah. This was when Kyrie finally came back and then got COVID immediately and signed somebody in place of him. But I really just like deals related phone conversations, because those are the best kind of phone conversations to have.
Yeah. Undeniable uptick is also pretty good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because you have your deals related phone conversations.
Sure.
Time, but to have an undeniable uptick in them represents a ramping up of stakes. So I think hundreds of hardship signings is kind of overstated too. Are there hundreds of signings to be made?
There were definitely not hundreds of hardship signings.
There were definitely like a good number, but I don't know if it was hundreds. I do like you pointed out undeniable. It's like who is going to deny this? Who's going to be like, you know what? Deals related phone conversations have been at the same level they've always been.
Well, I'm
There's
glad
nothing
you bring
to
that
see
up,
here,
because I think you could definitely deny the hundreds of hardship signings, but he's not really concerned with anyone giving a counter there. It's the counter of the uptick in deals related phone conversations.
That's true. Okay. Does anybody want to read the next one? The next one is from Shams. It's from The Athletic.
The classic. In scanning the Hawks roster, it's obvious John Collins, who signed a 5-year, $125 million deal in restricted free agency last offseason, and Cam Reddish are among the players who could acquiesce. Just another instance of startling and novel verb usage. Some people rely on their thesaurus a little too much, and it kind of makes their prose a little stilted, but here we're just blasting through idioms to explore the studio space. And
it also might help to understand what acquiesce means, just in case anybody doesn't know that. But
Yeah.
the definition I have is accept something reluctantly but without protest. So if you want to insert that into the sentence, we're talking about players accepting a package for Simmons, not the Hawks.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what single word would actually be the correct substitute there. Constitute a package for Simmons?
yeah, constitute or
Form.
I have
Sorry, I should be revealing full Shams when I'm talking.
I think a person acquiesces to do something. I don't think you acquiesce a package.
I have a simpler theory here, which is that Shams probably typed this on his phone to his editor or whatever, and he fucked up the spelling of acquire so badly that it autocorrect put acquiesced in, and his editor, already exhausted by however many prose-related paragraphs before this, was just like, his eyes glazed over. He saw it as correct, and that's how it got on the site.
I guess now we have a competing theory. So either it's like the thesaurus.com theory or the autocorrect theory.
Yeah.
I kind of have a third theory.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think he got his subject and object confused or something. And he was saying that the Hawks or the Sixers, one of the teams involved, could acquiesce this package. I still think there needs to be more connective tissue there, but I think like in some sort of trade related scenario, perhaps a certain team does acquiesce to, is it acquiesce to? They like whatever.
Yeah, acquiesce to.
Direct object. Acquiesce. Yeah. Acquiescing a package.
I mean, like any good work, I mean, this is why, he gets so much Nobel heat. Like any good work, like ambiguity is even in a sentence to sentence level, like, he holds a mirror up to the reader, and that's why he's the best.
I mean, it's just like this example is like sub what you'd expect out of like Johnny Cochran, where you're using like a $1 word when you could use a 5-cent word. But does anybody want to read the next one?
I would love to. And unlike the last one where there's like one glaring word that blurts out at you at the end, this one happens almost immediately. And I'm reading from the original text, Shams Charania. An impasse. Oh God.
your voice rejected that impasse that quickly.
I cleared my throat too hard. An impasse currently exists among the parties that clears the way for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open marketplace. Those sources said.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty here is just an impasse clearing the way. What a contradiction in images.
It's so good.
An impasse it currently exists, and then it clears the way. That's how you use an impasse. You use it to traverse from place to place.
That's famously the role that an impasse plays.
Yeah, you have to think about an impasse here as like the like a snowplow, basically.
Yeah.
Also, just using exists as the first verb in this sentence, just automatically you're in shaky footing.
That's called a power move if you have the chops to pull it off. But I think we have a series of tweets to go through now, and they're really striking to consider.
So this first one is probably the least related to the rest of these, but it's Jake Sherman of Punch Bowl News. I don't know if this is a true Shamsian turn of phrase, but I just liked how in Punch Bowl News midday, the White House will nominate a judge for the Supreme Court, a source tells me. The nominee isn't going to be someone who is not currently a judge. Which I guess at the time, to be fair, is like maybe there was talk about nominating someone who wasn't a judge, but the way that this is phrased is just so hostile toward the reader, giving them two very important pieces of information, but in two different sentences, that I just had to include Jake in this doc.
I think
What
like
was-
this, some version of this makes sense, but this is like a possession where like you run your offense, you almost get a good shot, but then you back it out, and then some guy dribbles between his legs, and the shot clock just expires before anything happens. Like the theory was there, but the second you try to put it into practice, it all just.
I also like the 2 replies.
There's a lot of stuff down here.
Simply epic.
Mostly those two.
down there.
You want to check your notifications live on air?
No, not really.
All
I
right,
mean, I
fine.
think it's because I retweeted the Shamsy award, but
Oh, nice.
we'll go to the next one. The next one is Josina Anderson.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Patrick, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, I'll do this one because we got
Okay.
Shams after this.
Okay.
Okay. Multiple league sources have either been told or seen notification and shared with me. Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Cannon was informed as of yesterday he would not be receiving the head coach job for the Texans at said time. The process is ongoing.
So for this one, I try to remember how to diagram sentences. It didn't even really all make it on one page, but I don't know if we can see it.
Oh, I don't think it's showing up because of the Shams background.
It's like the Shams energy is too strong. It prevents
Yeah.
you from showing a proper sentence on air.
Yeah. No.
But, I think the most challenging component was wrangling told or seen dash shared with me dash. I had to invent a new squiggly line that was not on any of the how-tos that I read. But it really takes up the whole page.
Yeah. I just like how everything in the second sentence here just nullifies whatever the scoop is supposed to be, which is that someone might have seen notification of something about a guy being informed that he won't get the job, but also the process is ongoing. So I don't know why I'm tweeting this. Should we move to the next one?
Well,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like every
Oh.
word before the word Eagles is like completely unnecessary. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
true.
the baseline. If you're a reporter tweeting news, that's like the assumption of anything you put out there as news, right?
It's a
Yeah.
pretty strong, like she's calling into question the role of the reporter in society. It's kind of a
Very
destabilizing.
subversive.
Yeah, it's very subversive. Maybe we should raise such a skeptical eyebrow anytime we read a tweet claiming to report news.
That's true.
glad
If it's not multiple league sources, if it's only just one league source being told or seeing notification
Possibly shared with.
and
Yeah.
possibly shared for posterity, this guy did not get the Texans head coaching job. So
All right.
that part was correct.
I like
went
that
to
also
Lovie
as
Smith.
of yesterday and at said time are the two clauses that are like the most sort of jammed in there, and they relate to each other, but also kind of no other part of the thing, and it doesn't really matter.
And we get ongoing.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on multiple planes of time at the same time.
What
Yeah.
is at said time doing there? Because you got as of yesterday and at said time.
So, Sammer, the Newtonian theory of time is sort of like this, like a passage at a steady rate in one direction. The
Yeah.
Andersonian vision is a little more like this. That's the process ongoing.
Okay. Any other comments on this one?
I can't wait to see what Sham's tweet this
Work
is.
really speaks for itself. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to this Shams tweet, and Giri, you can read this one.
Okay. Sources: Netstar Ben Simmons is dealing with back soreness in reconditioning process that requires further strengthening of the area over a period of time before return to action.
What I started to pick up on is that a lot of these sentences are really hostile to commas, like in any form.
That's definitely true.
They're not meant to be read out loud, which is why we wanted to read them out loud.
There's also some.
Wait, my question is, what requires further strengthening? Is it the reconditioning process or is it the back soreness?
Oh, as it's
Because
constructed,
neither of
yeah,
those
it
make
is.
sense.
The way it's constructed, we have to assume it's the reconditioning process.
Yeah, they need to strengthen the reconditioning process so he can deal with the back soreness.
But like back soreness is also not something that needs further strengthening, you know? Also, I realized that his bio, the second sentence is almost perfectly bracketed by the word FanDuel, if only.
I like the idea that you have to specify that a process occurs over a period of time. Also,
It's true.
without
People forget that.
you're hearing it more and more. But
Sometimes
without,
it's at said time too.
Well, I
without
mean, you will notice chronologically speaking, this is 3 weeks after the Josina tweet. So I think he's sort of staking his claim to like, no, he is a traditionalist. He really does believe the passage of time is inexorable and can only move in one direction. So like, that's just something to consider here. There's different schools of thought.
Were you gonna say, Giri? Sorry, I interrupted
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
I don't even remember.
Oh, my bad.
I'm just tripping reading over the sentence again.
Yeah, I do feel a little dazed after we've done 6 of these so far.
Yeah, I feel like the bare minimum, if you're gonna just like regurgitate nothing burger news, is to just like tell us what period of time to recover from back soreness is.
Yeah.
Just leaving that, just having us know that time proceeds forward is kind of all he was looking to do with this one.
I think this. Any further thoughts?
No, let's keep going.
Now I like this
Okay.
one.
I think this next one's pretty short. It's like kind of deceptive in how unnecessary
Yo,
it
that's
is.
good.
But it's from Sports Illustrated. Cameras caught Ben Simmons appearing to take a mid-range jumper, only for him to completely airball it. The thing is, like, we can't share the video just because of logistical stuff, but it's very clearly him taking a jump shot. So I'm not sure what appearing is doing here.
And they caught
Cameras caught.
Yeah.
I think it's not a coincidence that Simmons is a muse for some of their best pros. I think he's such a mystifying presence that they end up having to hedge everything they want to say in like 6 layers of qualification.
That's a great point.
He is the biggest uncertainty in the NBA right now, probably, and so that does make sense.
I also like the hedging between you're centering the cameras, you're using appearing. It's like this further wishy-washy language, then completely airball it is the end of the
Very
sentence.
confident.
Yeah.
If he shot it, it was definitely airball, regardless of whether it actually happened or not.
Schrodinger's airball, yeah.
Also, completely airball is redundant, but
Yeah, you can't kind of airball.
Yeah, it's a binary outcome. You also can't appear. All right, never mind. Let's go.
No, say it.
No, I was going to say the
okay.
same point, but in worse words.
That's fine.
Okay.
Next one. Oh, this is a good one. Who
Giri,
wants
you should
it?
do this one.
Oh God. When a chest-to-chest interaction with guard Jordan Poole escalated, Green forcefully struck Poole and both needed to be separated swiftly, sources said.
So this is about, I think this must have predated the video, because he's saying there was the nested tweet is there was a physical altercation at Warriors practice today.
A chest-to-chest interaction.
Actually, yeah, that has a team considering disciplinary action toward Draymond Green. But what all of these words are saying is that Draymond Green punched his teammate in the face, as would later be revealed in the video.
Like, can you imagine just getting punched in the face at work and then having it like this totally impenetrable euphemism an hour later?
I think at first pass you see chest-to-chest interaction, but separated swiftly, that's just such a weird adverb there. It's so good.
Yeah. I do give him credit for not using a fist-related altercation.
This, I could be big braining myself, but if you're saying both needed to be separated, is that saying that each of them individually needed to be divided, or
yeah,
like the two needed to be separated, so not each of them like independently?
No, I think
both is just
question.
weird there.
Both of them needed to be cut.
You could just say both were separated swiftly. That's like, of course they were needed. If one punched the other one in the face, yeah, of course they'd need to be separated.
But yeah, I think my point is like, is both the word, or is the two of the two?
Yeah,
It should be the 2, right?
the two were separated, so the two needed to be separated. So yeah.
I also really like that he identifies him as guard Jordan Poole.
Instead of maybe
Like a
teammate.
mild neg to add insult.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the point there is to like point to the size discrepancy between the two. Maybe.
Possibly, but
Like that's the most charitable possible read. Otherwise, you're just adding some characters.
Yeah.
it is still funny to just like somehow include his height in there like unprompted. Because it's not like you put Green's height in there. You just say this guy is however tall he is and assume that the reader knows that Draymond Green is a big guy. Okay. Any further thoughts? I feel like chest to chest interaction and deals related conversations have been like the two
Yeah.
I think
best phrases.
they both have staying power.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Okay.
Haynes guy.
Yeah, he's kind of elevated the form. Let's see what he's got.
This one is also about Draymond. Oh, this one's good.
Draymond Green was apologetic in aftermath of the altercation with Jordan Poole, but there was a buildup stemming from teammates noticing a change in Poole's behavior throughout camp, with the guard on the verge of securing a lucrative extension. League sources tell at Yahoo Sports. Oh, this is good. Okay, so what you need to remember here is there's a buildup, and the buildup is stemming from teammates noticing a change in Poole's behavior throughout camp, with the guard on the verge of securing a lucrative extension. And that's why Draymond Green was apologetic in aftermath of the altercation.
I like how the top reply we see is, I think, can you give specifics on the change in Poole's behavior? Because that's open to a lot of possible interpretation. Could you clarify a little bit?
And sort of a drive-by self-owned by saying, keep up the great work in response to this particular series of words.
I think it's not too often that that a buildup stems from noticing. So I think.
Wait, can I have some breaking news.
Okay.
John Heyman has just tweeted that Arson Judge is heading to the San Francisco Giants. And he said arson.
Wow, you heard
He
it here.
deleted it, but
You heard it here second, actually, but
well, yeah, the result doesn't matter, but the spelling is what counts.
Nice.
see, and he only said that in like 6 words, and it's like a big free agency deal. So what are these basketball reporters' excuses?
Yeah, he's famously terse, right?
Yeah. But like if somebody punches their teammate, that feels like a pretty, you don't have to add that much to it. You can just say that they punched a teammate.
They're intent on burying the lead.
Yeah.
Bob Nightingale trying to write a sentence with this many words that held water would be quite the experience.
Oh my god. Psychedelic.
Build-up stemming from teammates noticing is really good.
I think that's our third contender.
It doesn't
Okay.
have the sort of like compact punch of the other two ones, but I really like that for sheer illegibility.
Takes you on a journey.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. Oh, this is okay.
Oh yes.
Here we go. Sources: NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and Kyrie Irving met this morning, and the sides had a productive and understanding visit, paving the way for the Nets and their suspended star to work through his steps on a potential path forward. So I'm still not sure what this means.
Can you describe the image for us as it develops over the course of the sentence?
Okay, so it's this: the sides had a productive and understanding visit. So 2 sides met.
They met, yeah.
Okay. And then they're paving a way. They've created a way for the Nets and the suspended star. The way is going to be used so he can work through his steps on finding a potential path forward. They made a way and they're going to make another way right on top of it. They're going to just pave right over it. This is like the opposite of the impasse thing where it's just an enormous gap. But somehow people are walking through it. But this one, there's one walkway and then somehow a second walkway for people to figure out why he shared an anti-Semitic movie.
Yeah,
This is
instead of an impasse clearing the way, it's a building a bridge. It's a bridge building. Yeah.
Between-
They constructed the shittiest possible bridge imaginable.
Structural engineers hate him. This and the impasse tweet are sort of like the footprints in the sand kind of of the Shams experience.
When there was a crevasse on the beach, where were you?
That was when Adam Silver carried you.
That was when Adam Silver started motions to create a way for you to move forward. I feel like this is the strongest one so far.
That one's so good.
Okay.
No, I like this one.
I don't know if this one is going to. Actually, this is.
I think the original text had a better version, so we could maybe, I think we have that in our document.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, if I remember right. Let's see. We could just get to it as we go through these though.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll just read the tweet and then see if we get to it later.
Okay. So just as a sneak preview, the Brooklyn Nets hire Jack Vaughn, move on from potential hire of Ime Udoka after a series of factors that were the result of the due diligence process. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is remarkably terse for Shams, I will say, involving some kind of NBA controversy.
But the more you think about it, every word that's not a proper noun seems out of place.
Yes.
Okay, so it's almost backwards. So there's a due diligence process that created a result.
What was that result?
Factors that caused them to move on from Udoka and hire Jack Vaughn. Yeah, if you proceed exactly backwards,
Yeah. He's committing too hard to like the inverted pyramid here, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, beautiful stuff. I think we still have some in the document unless Patrick has more to say.
I just like that one is this like clean 6-word sentence. The Brooklyn Nets hire Jacques Vaughn. Even he couldn't mess that up. And then immediately just drops his spaghetti everywhere.
It's like he folded a really nice napkin and silverware and stuff, and the plate's just upside down on the table.
Yeah, he wrote 6 words and then became Bugs Bunny blowing the smoke off of it.
Okay, we're moving back to the dock now. We have a few more. Oh, those were okay.
Right? I think
well, those are the ones at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Now I see what we did. That's
Okay, I
fine.
can take this one.
Yeah,
Seems
this
like
one.
NBA guys are really dominated the field this year.
Yeah, they've had. I mean, there's been a lot of good NBA news that they're not equipped to handle, and I think that's led to a resurgence of the form.
They've had to describe sex and racism, which
Shams has really paved a way for the path to be built forward and the achievements of syntax.
Yeah.
But okay, Patrick, did you want to read this one?
Yeah, although I will also note that like Shams is like Kyrie's guy. Like he will launder his reputation through anything, and so that makes his heated interactions with pros daily in this space even more confounding.
That is useful context here.
I think that's worth mentioning because I think that's kind of one of the main reasons aside from the sheer humor that we like to get on these guys for this, because it just shows kind of who they're carrying water for and like how strenuously they have to like rub the fingerprints off the fake news that they're trying to report.
It is a pretty tough task to kind of make Kyrie Irving look sympathetic in these tweets.
Yeah,
and I hope this isn't a spoiler. Actually, I don't think we have it on this list, but the Shams blog about Kyrie being not motivated by money with his COVID holdout. I think that to me is like, that's the best Shams document that exists.
I think that might have won last year's award.
I think
records, but yeah.
Okay, so in a league that saw wings such as Golden State's Andrew Wiggins and Boston's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have game-changing impacts on a run to the NBA Finals, Bridges' two-way ability on the wing has become incredibly valued toward winning. He was kind of like doing something there. He was,
He's trying to create a new phrase.
he-
It's like that Google hack game where you try to find a Google result with precisely one, or a Google phrase with precisely
Oh,
one
yeah.
result. He's just trying to maximize the space of his words.
He's like mashing a couple different prepositions onto the end of valued and seeing which one.
Yeah, it's like, as he approaches that comma, it kind of starts like things start shaking a little bit. Just Boston's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have game-changing impacts on a run to the NBA. That's not a very clean sentence, but it's fine. He recovers. Bridges two-way ability in the wing. Nice. Okay, we're cruising. And then just like the bottom falls out, the wheels fall off, crashes his bike into a tree.
Yeah, I was gonna give him credit for the first part because I was like, okay, he put the comma in the correct spot. Like that, even though that's a very wordy way to start out a sentence. We're doing well here. And you just had to figure out a weirder way to say that Bridges two-way ability is useful. The weirdest possible way.
It reminds me of Bert's tirade against the phrase impact winning.
Yeah.
Like there's definitely a way in which like the basketballese that is used by like coaches and pundits just kind of worms its way into the reporting too. And here he found even a way to botch like the conventionally stupid way to say it, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why he's the best.
All right, we got one from Woj here.
Yeah.
For everything owner Joe Tsai and general manager Sean Marks did to assemble one of the modern NBA's most talented big threes, Irving's impenetrable connection to Durant looms as a domino to the dismantling of the roster, rattling the narrowest of walkways, keeping conviction on Irving's contract talks, and keeping Durant's desire to stay in net.
This one is, I really like this one. I think you kind of see where Shams learned some of this stuff because he used to work for Woj. And we can't leave out the mentor in this list.
This is
he deserves credit.
Yeah, this is Emperor Palpatine looming into view here.
This might be one of the best ones we've had so far.
Yeah.
Looming as a domino is an incredible mixed metaphor.
Just a huge domino.
It's an impenetrable connection that looms as the bond between them is a domino.
And then right after he just brings in walkways, which is it's that part is like specifically is clear how Shams has struggled so much to describe things that people travel on.
Why would you straddle a walkway? For what purpose? Why would you have one foot on either side of a walkway?
Why didn't he just say tightrope? Like, you've already gone with domino and you shouldn't mix metaphors, but just say fucking tightrope. Nobody's balancing on a walkway. There's nothing to fall off of.
That last sentence doesn't make any sense either. Keeping conviction and keeping their own conviction and then keeping Durant's desire. And those are the two sides they're straddling on this walkway.
They're the two sides building a huge domino that's looking over the rest of the nets. This domino threatens to topple and crush Barclays Center.
I think that so I think going into this, I didn't have this one top of mind, but it's right up there with an impasse clearing the way, I would say.
He's also using dismantling as a noun in there. This is really good.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay. We'll go to the next one.
All right, this is the artist finding his muse once again. It's Shams and Kyrie.
Yeah. Do you want to read it or do you want me to?
You take us away.
Okay. However, ever since the season-ending sweep against the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs without Simmons and Joe Harris and a hobbled Seth Curry, underlying issues have persisted throughout these nets that festered into the future of Irving and the contract discussions that ended in him deciding to return for next season. And most recently, whether Durant's evaluation of the franchise could push him away. Why are you starting the sentence with however and then also ever right after it?
I didn't notice that.
Just say ever since the or like but ever since, or some kind of thing where you're not saying ever twice separated by a comma. It's just absolutely garish.
Sweep against the Celtics is not as bad too.
Yeah.
So how does the last part of the sentence fit in? Is he deciding whether, okay, the future of Irving and the discussions ended in him deciding whether Durant's evaluation of the franchise. Okay. All right. I think I'm back on solid ground now. Okay.
I mean, I feel like if we solve this, we'll find a treasure, like a treasure map somehow. There's like a hidden clue in here. This isn't actually supposed to be an NBA report. It's just like a codex for some kind of.
This is the Voynich manuscript.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first sentence starts with framing that like this is a new thing that happened since the season-ending sweep. Ever since this sweep happened, underlying issues have persisted. That's a contradiction already.
That's true.
Like, are they persisting? Are they underlying issues? Are they things that have happened, however, ever since the season-ending sweep?
They were just dropped in right after the sweep and had been persisting in perpetuity in the different dimension, I guess.
And then he identifies the underlying issues only as that,
Yeah.
which are never defined. And then he kind of defines them in a really weird way. It's great. Like, do you think this one passes the Shams reverse test if we just go
back? Let's see if
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Durant's evaluation of the franchise could push him away.
Yeah. That's
So put him, we're talking about Irving here, right?
Okay, so Durant's evaluation of the Nets could push Kyrie away.
Yeah.
And contract extension talks ended with him deciding to return for the season. But underlying issues have persisted throughout these Nets. And that sort of started once they were swept by the Celtics.
Honestly, that makes a lot more sense.
It doesn't make sense, but it makes more sense.
It
makes more sense.
It's funny because he actually did present the information chronologically, but like all the connective tissue between the parts makes you confused about whether you're moving forwards or backwards.
Maybe that's the key to getting more out of Shams is just reading everything backwards, definitely. Okay.
Got a good Woj one here.
Yeah.
God, I do love how many of these are about the Nets.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just like there was particularly tortured language around the time of the Udoka stuff and just the Brooklyn Nets in general. And maybe they were more noticeable, or maybe it's just like everything else felt more clear cut when they were reporting on it.
I honestly think it's mostly that they were reporting on this. Like, I don't think this is like, I think the Nets are especially confounding, but I think this is just kind of who these guys are.
Yeah.
As writers. Okay. Those investigative findings, which described verbiage on Udoka's part that was deemed especially concerning coming from a workplace superior, contribute to what is likely a difficult pathway back to his reinstatement as Celtics coach in 2023, sources told ESPN.
This is where he got the pathway shit from. This is I feel like if their editors just cut out every reference to walkways and pathways and
and impasses
progressing towards things, like that's one of the original ones.
Pedestrian methods of transport. If they just got rid of all of those, their language would be like 50% clearer.
What he's trying to say is that these findings make it harder for him to become the Celtics coach again.
Yeah. That's all there is here.
Contribute to a difficult pathway back.
It's also really funny because he at this point 100% knows that Udoka's never going to come back, that he's probably going to get fired over this. Like, right. So he's kind of concealing the information that he knows, but is presenting what he is allowed to present in such a way that would lead anyone reading this to come to the obvious conclusion. But he's basically saying it without saying it, but like in not saying it, he's letting you know that he knows.
Yeah,
as like
that's what they care
about. Like language is supposed to communicate meaning, and this is sort of a stark counterpoint to that.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of reading the Scoop guys generally is like finding the subtext, figuring out who they're doing a favor for, because you can't actually glean information from it as language.
Yeah, they're always, yeah, all of this is always
You
doing
basically
favors to the people who gave them that stuff.
all you can learn is like who they're friends with or like text who responds to their texts.
Yeah.
And it takes like 25 to 30 words to say that.
Okay, we touched on these two. These were just if we were like struggling on time, although
Can
I
I do
am going
Josina?
to,
They're quite good.
yeah,
This
the
is my
Orioles
favorite
guy
tweet.
is too complicated to get into because it's like a bunch of images and stuff. So sorry for teasing the listeners on that one or the viewers on this one. But this Josina one, I think we'll end with this. And yeah, that'll be that. And then I will say later this year, later this year we'll actually put the Shamsy post up where you can see all of these again, and then we'll actually pick a winner.
Okay, so from a broader perspective, one thing multiple sources are saying to include in the final analysis on details still expected to emerge regarding the Washington NFL team at some point is the timeline of people departing, the contrast between them, and what may unify them. You got it?
So this, for people who don't remember what was happening at this time, I think this was when there was going to be a very damning report about Dan Snyder and the Washington football team, about how he had done a lot of bad shit. And it did end up coming out, but people were kind of wondering whether this report actually existed. And so this is how Josina Anderson presented this information.
Okay, so we really should try to work through this as a team because I've tried on my own and I can't understand.
This is the final boss of syntax.
So she's trying to add context.
Yes.
From a broader perspective.
Yeah, she's giving us some context.
So she's just saying, if you're considering this looming report, the existence of this report, one thing multiple sources are saying to include. Okay.
So if you're looking at this from a broader perspective, one thing you should include, according to multiple sources, is.
I love that
she says not even is,
and then lists like 3 things.
Yeah, no, we're still describing what the analysis is on.
Yeah, wait, I jumped the gun here. It's still, I was in the middle of the thought.
Well, okay. We're of course talking about a final analysis on details still expected to emerge.
Also, somehow,
so while the details,
Washington's NFL team is like both correct and like the least useful way to identify them. Just say
yeah.
Okay. So at some point, these details will emerge, and you can't, if you're going to have a final analysis on this thing that doesn't exist, you do have to know that at some point details will emerge regarding, okay, so the timeline of people departing, and then also the things that they have apart and in common.
Yeah. Typically a thing true of basically any piece of news ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What compare and contrast? We're going to compare and contrast here. The timeline of people departing. We're going to contrast the timelines and compare them, maybe. I think it's not even the people, it's the timelines. And then this will maybe be included in tentative details that might emerge. But as we do the analysis on those details.
And this is only from a broader perspective, this has nothing to do with the specifics.
Yeah. This is all just something a lot of people told her to include in the analysis.
Yeah. Say, hey, I know I gave you that scoop, but don't forget to include the timeline of people departing, the contrast between them, or what may unify them.
I memean, I think it's important to have a broad perspective. And if you have multiple sources telling you one thing, that you have this analysis, like the final, like the last analysis, you have to include that is details still expected to emerge regarding the Washington NFL team at some point.
I like that. I like to imagine that it's like 4 people in a group chat. It's Josina and 3 sources. And one of them is like, yeah, and don't forget about the timeline of people departing. And the second was like, and don't forget about the contrast between them. And the third one pipes up, is like, and what may unify them?
Getting all the thumbs up in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like a very this tweet has an internal dialectic, you know.
Yeah. This is the most powerful tweet of the last few years. Unfortunately, it's not eligible for this year's Shamsy because it's from 2020, but it's immortalized. It's definitely the standard to which others aspire to ramp up to.
For those of you who are trying to come to a final analysis on details still expected to emerge regarding the Shamsies, is from a broader perspective, one thing that us, you know, the three of us, multiple sources, would like to are saying is at some point, you know, you consider these tweets and these blogs is the timeline of people writing, the contrast between them and what may unify them. So just keep that in mind. Keep those in mind when you're, you know, trying to come to a final analysis on details still expected to emerge.
Yeah. Also, I forgot I said I was gonna do the Tony Soprano voice for some of these.
Oh yeah.
But I could definitely do it for this one. I feel
This
like
is a
I've done
good
it
one.
for this one before. But yeah, just give me a second.
From a broader perspective, one thing multiple sources are saying to include in the final analysis on details still expected to emerge regarding the Washington NFL team at some point is the timeline of people departing, the contrast between them, or what may unify them.
All right, you got to do one. Give us impasse clearing the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like one of the first Shams ones, I think.
Where is it?
Oh, it's yeah, there we go.
I see it.
An impasse currently exists among the parties that clears the way for the 7-time All-Star to consider the open marketplace, those sources said.
Oh, this is so good.
I think
a lot of good nominees to pick from here.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
I
very
don't
rich
envy the
text.
selection committee.
Any readers who are conducting their own final analysis on the tweets that have and are still to emerge, definitely let us know.
Oh yeah, send it to Giri at defector.com or tips at defector.com.
Yeah.
Just email one of us or email tips and we'll put it up for consideration. There's a larger doc that had, well, actually, I think these are all the nominees, but we'll include it. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any closing thoughts?
Give us one more, Tony, and then we'll just end this.
All right. Which one?
Mm, oh, the domino. The domino.
Yeah, the domino one.
Oh God, that one's long. Okay. Yeah. Where's it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
For everything owner Joe Tsai and general manager Sean Marks did to assemble one of the modern NBA's most talented big threes, Irving's impenetrable connection to Durant looms as a domino to dismantling of the roster. Brooklyn is straddling the narrowest of walkways, keeping conviction on Irving's contract talks and keeping Durant's desire to stay in net.
That almost lapsed into like old-timey radio announcer.
Yeah.
Now I want to hear one of those guys who can say 400 words a minute, just like reading all of these in rapid succession.
Beautiful.
All right. I think that's all I got. Okay.
Wow, I feel stupid as hell. That was lovely.
Thank
We
you.
definitely all got dumber.
Yeah, thank you to Gideon Patrick for joining me on this journey. Thank you for everybody watching at home. And yeah, if you see a terrible piece of syntax, make motions to say something to a source of some sort.
Yeah, progress towards
Ramping up.
proceeding down the walkway of ramping up towards emailing Giri at defector.com.
Yeah, stay away from any pathways or walkways that these guys are talking about.